Yo, what is going on, my fellow weebs? Chrono here, and welcome back to the channel. So today we're going to be going over everything that you need to keep in mind whenever you're looking at Zandy's shop, what you should focus on, and what new has changed that is actually pretty cool over in NGS. But before we jump in, if you guys are new here, as always, my name is Chrono from Look Over PSO2 content. Would much appreciate to subscribe as we're going towards that 10K mark, hopefully by the end of this year. Anyway, let's go ahead and jump into this. So Zandy's shop is mostly the same this time around. It's not too crazy different. And to be honest, I was going to delay doing this video for a little while longer. However, I was up super late last night working on some IRL stuff that I didn't get to bed till 4 o'clock. And your boy woke up very, very late. And this is probably the easiest video that I could do to make sure we get a video out today. So this is the video that's going out today. We'll probably do a video covering the new event weapons, but those are pretty straightforward, so I won't worry too much about that. It's mostly a comparison for people who are currently still gearing up or who are jumping into the game right now and want to know how strong that's going to be as opposed to anything else they can use. So that video is coming. It's going to show up. It's just going to be about a day or two later. So as far as the event shop goes, again, it's always fairly straightforward. So you guys know the recycled items this time around are just the scratches themselves. These are the fantasy scratches themselves. These are just trading in the vouchers that you get for drops. These drop vouchers come from like I believe the LTQ and the UQ, as well as some limited tasks. You can trade the 10 of them in for a scratch ticket. So very cool to go ahead and farm. Definitely want to get those done. And you should be doing the UQ, by the way, because it drops some really, really good augments. This is just the Super Fantasy Festival as points tickets. These allow you to get 100% increased points. So in case you're farming points, maybe you're a little bit behind, or you know you're not going to be doing a ton of farming, these are pretty solid to use. They do require SG badges or AC badges. I would go on the side of SG badges unless there's just a ton of AC badges, but AC badges have a cost to them basically. So this is like, am I going to spend money or am I going to spend the extra currency that I have left over? So up to you where you decide to go about it. I always go with SG badges if I'm going to use these at all. And if I'm going to use them, I farm hard for that 1 hour. Basically pop a bunch of boosters and then just go really, really hard. But realistically, to be honest, unless you're not playing a lot of this event, you really don't need these at all. You will get enough points just doing your dailies, your weeklies, and just farming about an hour or so a day, if even that much. Actually, farming an hour a day will get you a lot done. So I would say don't even worry about it. I didn't even farm at all. Not this last event, but the event before that, I didn't farm a single time and just did my dailies and weeklies and still bought out everything I needed to get. So pretty simple. As always, you have the scratch tickets at the very top. I always recommend picking up these first when you get a chance. You'll be able to do the Super Fantasy Festival scratch itself, which has some pretty nifty things in there. Cosmetics are up to you. I always grab them, but I like collecting cosmetics since I play this game a ton. Earrings actually not too bad this time around. I actually like that quite a bit. The glide, we have Aero Dance, it looks like, not too bad. Mount Magnus for our vital gauge along with 10th anniversary vital gauges. SG badge or SG badge as well. Star gems. And of course special scratch tickets, just standard ones. And then we have our weapons themselves. Right, apologies, had some IRL jump in the way, so you guys are gonna see a cut there, no biggie. But we have the weapons here, like I mentioned earlier. I'm going to go through these. I'll let you guys kind of know how useful these are. Just a quick response as far as it looks like. It is kind of still the same stuff. Master LC is still terrible. You can keep everything else on here, swap out Master LC. Even if you change it out for just regular Mastery, Mega Trial, hell, you could put just whatever the main stat is that you use in this slot, and it's a better choice than this. You do not need to worry about Master LC, especially if you have Grand Dreadkeeper LC, which is also pretty bad to be perfectly honest. But this is giving you plenty of potency floor, so you're not going to really be missing out on too much. If you are using these weapons like as a stopgap, since you might be new or something along those lines, at the very least, swap this out. This is pretty terrible. Whether you get regular mastery, which is pretty cheap nowadays, or you just get a main stat because you can't spend any really money on this, that's totally fine. Everything else is actually pretty solid, so I wouldn't worry too much about that at all. As far as the potential is still kind of crap, unfortunately, and Setsune is also still kind of crap. It's really sad that these are not as strong as they used to be, but I digress. Time moves on. So scrolling down, oh, the nice thing about these, by the way, also they're level 90. So If you do need a weapon for dual quest and you haven't made one yourself, you can use these. These are actually pretty solid weapons. I wonder what the color variant of this is, because the weapon does look pretty cool, all things considered. Like, it is a pretty dope looking weapon, so imagine the color variant being pretty dope looking as well. As far as armor goes, they give you if you're leveling right now, this is like, hey, use these for leveling because they're drastically overpowered. Like, having access to this at level, what, this is level 10, and then this at level 42 is kind of wild, especially since they're max level 90. So just getting an extra slot in here, I mean, I wouldn't bother with the Qualday or the Sietzo. Heck, I wouldn't even bother with the Ajax, to be honest. I would wait until I hit the Ainia personally before I even mess with any of these. But the fact they added the Ainia in is amazing. These are going to be super, super awesome to use for your dual quest gear if you don't have any armor prepared. These are already plus 90'd, so you don't have to worry about limit breaking them. Saves you a lot of money, well, the resources aren't very important, but the money is. Saves you quite a bit of money on limit breaking, so pick these up if you haven't already. I'd highly recommend picking them up regardless, even if you don't plan on making dual quest gear right now. Maybe you've already made your dual quest gear, pick it up, set it aside for the next time dual quest comes out, if they're going to be doing dual quest moving forward in the future. I have a tinfoil hat theory about that, but that's a topic for another video. Moving on, we do have our minerals. Minerals are pretty solid, but as you can see, I played this game for a very long time, so I have tons and tons and tons of minerals. I'd only pick these up if you absolutely need them to unlock something or you need some extras. Realistically speaking, over time, you're going to gather so many minerals that it's not going to be that important. You can get these from mining, and it's pretty straightforward, fairly easy. If you're picking up any minerals to hoard or to stack up, photon quartz, chunks, photon scales, blizzardium, and infernium, these are all more of the rare minerals. Of course, the former less so than the latter. So I would say pick these up. Not super bad to go ahead and get a hold of them, but they aren't very high on the priority list. Icicle cubes, icicle orbs. I mean, I wouldn't really be worried about making a rare these days. So unless you're making it just for completion purposes, you want one of every weapon, you can skip over these fairly comfortably. Aegis Integra. I personally grabbed these. These are actually really, really nice to have. The Aegis Integra basically trades in for materials that you would use to create Hal Finale and therefore a Lux Hal Finale. So I would highly recommend going ahead and picking up Aegis Integra. Growth Mints are kind of a waste. You're going to add so many of these unless you're in a position where you're just getting into the game and you're deciding you want to make a Zover weapon, which I don't really feel like you should. Finn, I'm recording. You need to relax, buddy. I would highly recommend just skipping on over these personally. We do also have the dread scales. Again, this is something that unless you're specifically looking at something to grab from that actual shop, you could skip over pretty comfortably for right now. You're going to build up dread scales over time, and you're going to have more of them. You're going to have more of them than you need, what to do with. So I would highly recommend not worrying too much about that. X cubes, you always need X cubes. This is actually pretty solid. So pick up X cubes, you'll stack them up and set them aside for a rainy day. Master fragments, always pick up master fragments. Master fragments can be turned into master cubes, and master cubes give you guaranteed max level add-on skills. So definitely want to go ahead and pick these up. Definitely very useful. Pretty much always a must buy. Photon chunk A, B's, arms finders 1 and 2s, more or less are completely obsolete on purchasing from these shops unless you have a specific need. You're upgrading something and you're fairly early on and you don't have access to these. I would highly recommend just skipping over them. Honestly, even if you do need them, I would probably still skip over them, to be honest, because you can get a lot of them fairly quickly and fairly easily from combat zones as well as the mining all around the world. So just collect your daily mining. You'll eventually get what you need. TI customization discs, A and B. Again, these are things that I would probably mostly skip over. I believe these are also like just dirt cheap on the market nowadays. So if you really need them, you can pick them up from there. If you're absolutely flat broke, don't want to spend any money and have tons and tons and tons of seasonal points, sure, go ahead and pick these up. But unless you have a specific need, they're not really that important to grab. If anything, maybe the Omni disc, if you're like doing max level on every single one of your crafts, you play a little bit everything. These are pretty solid to go ahead and pick up. You don't get a lot of these, so you can pick these up if you really want to. These are the dual quest augments for 5, and this is going to apply to all the dual quest augments across the board. Pick them up if you need them. I usually grab the 40 from here so I can make my dual quest gear. While you don't really need dual quest gear to complete the current dual quest, even to get an S rank, to be perfectly honest, I think it was actually more tuned for us not to have a 7th augment slot, or they wanted to make it so you were actually able to do it if you really wanted to without the gear itself. The boss still hits fairly hard. He can still one-shot you if you're not paying attention. So depending on your class combination. So just be prepared. But you can go ahead and get this if you're going to be farming the dual quest to go ahead and make the new augment to either sell or to use yourself. Highly recommend going ahead and grabbing these. So that way you're that much more effective with farming. While you don't need it, it doesn't really matter about what you need versus what's actually fairly useful. And these are fairly useful. And they're not very expensive, which is really nice. They actually made this a lot more affordable overall. Triple 2, don't worry about it. Realistically speaking, unless you need another slot for, I mean, this is gonna be the case for pretty much all of the augments. Don't worry about it unless you specifically have a need for it right this very moment. Everything else just drops so commonly that you're gonna get a lot of these things anyway. I would argue the Spiro, Wardrow, and Guaro trials are all fairly useful if you're making a ton of Mega Trial, and that's really about it. The Gigas always going to be useful. We never get enough of these as it is, and people complain to me about it every single day. Yep, yeah, Shade, I'm calling you out. Either way, go ahead and pick up your Gigas. They're fairly free here. I would skip over Dread maybe. Grand Dread Keeper is not really as useful as it was in the past for most people. It is still an okay augment. It is still used in the best in slot setup while you're still using Potency Floor. However, it has fallen off a bit, so its value is not nearly as high as something like Gigas would be. However, Gigas Mass Day is now dropping, all completed. So these are going to have a lot less value overall, so the price of these are going to be going down. Gold Prim Sword plus 60s, very, 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 very important. Pick these up. Few reasons. One, they're already unlocked to 90. This is huge. You do not need to unlock these. Grab them for the love of God. This is very, 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 very important. Pick all of these up and then lock them. If you're someone who turns gold prims into endemios, lock these gold prims. You do not want to actually turn these into endemios. You can make the mistake of turning them into endemios and they will not turn back into plus 60 full limit broken. You will lose out on them. Please do not make this mistake. I'm saying this now in this video because I didn't say it in the previous video and I mentioned in a later video and people are like, I think I might have actually done that. So I'm mentioning it now. Grab these and lock them. You definitely want to go ahead and have these stacked up for those moments where they have great success rates guaranteed. That way you can build up weapons to use to go ahead and upgrade your other weapons or possibly to sell these completed upgraded weapons. So very, very useful. And of course, whenever the next great success event comes out around, I will go ahead and talk to you guys about that. Endemios, get them. Just get them. These are their experience, weapon experience, as well as unit experience. So pick them up. Alpha Raptors, it's money. If you've got the leftover points, grab the money. Very, very nice. Augmentation success rates. I get these honestly, just because I feel like one of these days I'm going to run out and I'm going to freak out about it. But realistically, you can skip over this pretty comfortably. And end grinders, this is your dump stat. If you don't need anything else, if you purchased everything else from the shop and you still have leftover points, you can purchase end grinders, and the end grinders will basically either sit in your inventory, sit in your storage, or you can then just vendor them for some extra money at the end. And that is it. That is everything you need to know when it comes to the shop, everything that's important, how I would value things, and what you should be keeping an eye out for and what you should be purchasing moving forward. If there's anything I missed, feel free to toss in the comments below. Thanks to the channel members. Like if you enjoyed the video, subscribe when you keep up with more. I'm still bad with outros, and I will see you guys next time. Take care, my friends. Peace out.